My name is Ani Pomo, and I am a Buddhist nun and the director and resident teacher of Songtsen Gampo Buddhist Center of Cleveland, which is actually in Lakewood, Ohio, which is a suburb of Cleveland. Um, we're temporarily closed because of the pandemic, so we're doing everything here. Um, Online, I mean. On Sundays, we have this meditation for the first 3 Sundays of the month. Last Sunday of the month, we have family meditation via Zoom. We have classes and other things, also seminars, retreats via Zoom as well. This Saturday, we are having a day-long retreat, which is titled Clear Mind, Calm Heart. So that runs from 10 in the morning until 5:30 with some breaks, an hour for lunch, half an hour tea break, this kind of thing. So I invite you to that. If you want to learn more about that, I put a link in the description below. We also have the closing prayers we're going to do today below. There's a link for those too. So you might want to click on those at some point. And I guess that's it. All right. So before we begin today, actually, as you see from the title, we are going to talk about weathering the storm. So we'll talk more about that. But first, we want to establish our bodhicitta motivation. Okay. So bodhicitta means awakened mind heart. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit distracted. I'm just trying to get this the right. I had it on my monitor and now it's here. Okay. So bodhicitta means awakened mind heart. Bodhi means awakened. Chitta is the mind and heart together. And that really means that's the etymology of it. But the definition of it is the wish to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So that's really the ultimate goal. Of course, it benefits us also if we attain enlightenment, but our main goal is to attain enlightenment so we can have all the qualities necessary to benefit others. So to develop bodhicitta, really, we need first to connect with our innate compassion, okay? So when we see the suffering of others, whether human or animal, we can really, it's kind of heartbreaking, like it hurts our heart to some extent. And that's actually a good thing. Not that we want to be in pain, but that it shows that compassion is part of us. And that compassion comes with like wanting to do something for others, right? We want to relieve them of their suffering. And we should do that where and when and how possible. But ultimately, the things that we do in our current state of delusion, I guess, are really limited and are not, most importantly, are not really addressing the cause. Okay. So the cause of suffering is this fundamental ignorance called marigpa. And that type of ignorance, it's not ordinary ignorance that we might think of. It's an ignorance that ignorance about reality, ignorance about the nature of the self and of reality itself. So it's quite profound. So once anyone attains enlightenment, that ignorance is gone, and with it, all the suffering is also gone. So that's why we want to attain enlightenment, not just for ourselves, but so that we can help others attain enlightenment also. So please do your best in whatever kind of whatever faith or no faith tradition that you have, at least make that wish that the time we spend together this morning will benefit not only us, but everyone else as well. And then we want to bring our minds to our precious teachers, of course, the Buddha. But in the current day, we have the great fortune of being able to learn from Jigme Khyentse Rinpoche, Tulku Pema Wangyo Rinpoche, Tapu Mato Rinpoche, and others. And it's so important to have this kind of connection and guidance from realized beings. So we just think of them with, gratitude, with respect. And from our perspective as Buddhists, we also ask for their blessings so we can understand the teachings, so we can practice, so we can overcome any kind of inner and outer obstacles to practicing properly. Good morning, Angelina. Okay, so now we are going to discuss uh, weathering the storm. All right. So, what do I mean by that? Okay. Um, all right. Right now, I'm just trying to. There we go. Okay. Pulling up my notes. So, weathering the storm, or weathering, I could say even weathering the weather. Okay. Our teachers say, don't be like a blade of grass going this way and that with whatever happens, right? Be like Mount Everest, be as stable as Mount Everest, immovable even when storms are raging. So we can't achieve a stable mind just by wishing it or by seeing that it's a good thing, right? We need to practice. Actually, we need to like learn or study, uh, contemplate, and meditate. All right. So, study in this case refers to, um, hang on, sorry, refers to uh, hearing the teachings on why a stable mind is important. Okay. Because right now we might just be thinking like, what does that even mean? And kind of like, who cares? Right. So we need to learn like why that's important. Okay. And then we need to contemplate that. So the teacher or the book that we're reading or what have you says, stable mind is really important. Okay. And maybe explains a few reasons why. So then we need to think about that. This is really important in the Buddhist teachings. We don't just swallow the teachings whole. Okay, we we think about them. We try to digest them. We debate them with ourselves. Debate in Tibetan monasteries is really important. It's part of the learning process for monks and nuns. I would have anyway. Uh, so we think about it, is stable mind important or not? What is my mind like when it's stable? Or what is my mind like when it's unstable? Is this teaching true that it's important to have a stable mind? So that's contemplation. And then meditation is the thing that helps us to uh, like make the teachings part of ourselves, right? So, we have to meditate, yeah, uh, to kind of integrate the teachings in our mind. And through meditation, we can start to see, even if we can't change anything, right? At least we can observe. This is what my mind feels like, or this is the experience of a stable mind, and this is the experience of an unstable mind. All right. Okay, so let's think about what are the advantages of a stable mind and what are the disadvantages of a mind that is unstable. All right. So let's start with unstable. And in this case, I'm not talking about some kind of mental illness. Okay. I just am talking about a mind that is swayed, easily swayed. Okay. So most of us are in this category, all right, myself included. Someone compliments us, for example, and we are over the moon with excitement and pride. The next minute, another person insults us, and we feel angry and dejected for the rest of the day, right? This kind of instability causes us a lot of suffering. We're just pulled to and fro, by every situation. Like it's suffering. We don't have a center. We can't like access our true center. So it causes a lot of suffering, and it makes it harder to access our innate wisdom. So, as a little side note, it's important to understand that Buddhism starts from the point of view of basic goodness, okay? That we already have all the qualities of enlightenment in us. And the process of the path is a matter of uncovering and recognizing that we have those things, not introducing something from the outside. The teachings, and we might think, well, what about the teachings? That's introducing something, from the outside. But the teachings are not actually introducing something from the outside. The teachings are helping us to learn how to access our enlightened qualities. All right. So having a stable mind doesn't mean that we become unfeeling zombies. Okay. I mean, the proof of that is just look at our teachers. Just look at the Dalai Lama. It's easy to access his videos and things like that. I mean, look at him. He has a personality. And this is an enlightened being, right? So he has his own personality. He laughs a lot. I'm sure there's things he likes. I'm sure there's things he doesn't like, but that his mind is always stable in the middle of all of that. All right. So it means a stable mind means that we are not pushed out of balance by every passing situation, right? So as I said, like of course we feel happy, we feel sad, and so forth, but we don't let those emotions overtake us. Like when the lamas say, "Be like Mount Everest," they don't mean that Mount Everest never has bad weather, right? Mount Everest has, some of the harshest weather on the planet. But even the strongest gales or the biggest snowstorm doesn't bend the mountain. It remains stable in the midst of that. All right. So, how to achieve this kind of mind, right? Mainly through meditation, actually. Those three things I mentioned before are important, but in this case, meditation is really the stronger of those three that we need to focus on. So, that's what we're going to focus on today, meditation. Okay. Through meditation, just like through mindfulness or breathing meditation, even, right? We learn firsthand that thoughts and emotions are just weather. Okay, they're not the sky. So, a very common example of the nature of mind is that it is like a clear blue sky. Everything else is just weather, right? The sky remains a clear blue sky. Like if you've ever been in a plane or you've seen videos of someone who's in a plane, right? It's still the blue sky, right? Even if it's raining or there's tornadoes or snowing or clouds, the sky above is always clear blue, right? So this is how we need to think of our mind, okay? So the stability of our mind doesn't mean that we don't experience thoughts and emotions, doesn't mean that we're not moved to happiness or sadness or grief or any of the other kind of emotions we might be feeling, okay? It just means that we don't let those things um, shake us, right? We don't let those things move us out of the stability of our mind. All right. So by meditating, and in this case, all I'm talking about here, well, actually, I'm talking about two different types of meditation. So maybe we'll do that today. Mindfulness of breathing meditation and resting the mind meditation. Okay. So through those kinds of and meditation, but not solely through those, um, uh, we sit like Mount Everest and let those thoughts and emotions pass by, right? We're not trying to stop it. We're not trying to stop having them, all right? We're just trying to not get overly involved in them, right? And the more we experience that, and I have to emphasize experience, not just think about, right? That's the beauty of meditation is that we learn to, like, we're actually experiencing what's happening. And that's going to affect us in a much different way than if we just think about it, in a much deeper way, and a way that we can, integrate that into our lives. Right. So the more we experience that, the more we sit like Mount Everest and, excuse me, just let all those thoughts and emotions pass by. It's not like we don't see them, we see them, we know that they're there, but we're not chasing after them. We're not making them solid. We're not being swayed to and fro, like the Tibetans say, like a blade of grass on the top of a windy mountain, Every wind that comes, left, right, back, forth, you get dizzy with it, right? So the more freedom we have. Okay. This is something that really, pretty much the only way that we can understand that is to actually do the practice. Okay. Just like anything else. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Hold on. So, like driving a car, for example, right? We grow up, most of us, seeing our parents um, or relatives or whoever we're with driving. We see them driving, been in a car, various points during our whole life. That doesn't mean we know how to drive a car, right? So it's in learning to drive a car that we have the experience of driving, right? Not of just watching someone drive or reading about driving or, knowing all the steps, knowing all the parts of the car. You can know all that stuff and still not know how to drive, right? It's only by trying it, by doing it, that we know, right? And that's the same with meditation. And that's the same with the mind. We can't just read a book and then know the nature of mind. You can't just read a book or hear a teaching or watch a video and then be like, oh, now I understand the mind. No, 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 no. We have to practice. We got to do the practice. We have to have that personal, individual experience so that we actually know what's happening. All right. So, right now, all right, uh, for example, like when a friend compliments us, like I mentioned earlier, with a stable mind, we understand that though it's pleasant, it's only words, right? It's only words moving through space and hitting our eardrums. Okay. We don't have to, have to. Sorry. We don't have to hang our entire heart and mind on those words. Okay. Tomorrow, that same friend may insult us. And if they do, we understand the same thing. Okay. We're not swayed to and fro by every situation we encounter. You might think, oh, that's fine for small things, right? That's fine for, you know, a little drizzle of rain or, A nice sunny day, that's fine for those things. But what about disasters, right? What about the hurricanes and the tornadoes? How are we supposed to keep stable in that situation, right? And what's the advantage of that? Okay. First of all, how we're supposed to keep stable in that situation, in those big situations, right? The things that really rock us, divorce, death, challenges, money problems, those things that keep us up at night. Okay. Uh, what are we supposed to do about those things? Okay. So let me ask you this. If you were on a ship in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of a hurricane, who would you rather be with? Someone who is panicking and freaking out, or someone who is calm and clear headed, right? You see? Okay. To help ourselves, even to help others, a stable mind is really the best. I'm sure some of you have heard me talk about this in the past, but it's such a good example, for me personally, and I think it's a good example in general for a lot of things. But um, when my dad was dying at home, by that time I had been practicing probably about 15 years or so, I think. And I never saw myself, and I still don't see myself as some kind of great practitioner. I know that I'm not. That's probably why I'm teaching, right? Those who can't do teach, as they say. Anyway, nonetheless, I had years of some practicing and years of teaching and some retreat and things like that. So when my dad was dying, we had hospice right at home. I was sad, I was definitely sad about the situation, but I was able to maintain composure because of my practice and because of the teachings, which helped me to understand that death is inevitable, that everything is impermanent, including the one ourselves, right? Including ourselves, and including the ones we love, right? So because of that practice, because of those teachings I heard over the years, um, my mind was pretty stable, right? And because of that, I was able to help not only my dad, but my mom and the rest of my family move through this time. Okay. Not by, giving them speeches or anything like that, but just by being there in a calm state, organizing things that needed to be done because I wasn't overtaken, I wasn't freaking out, right? So I could see the big things like death and permanence and non-self, like who is this person, that I grew up with that is changing so drastically physically and mentally as the weeks go by, right? um, because I wasn't so agitated by this situation, I could see the bigger picture even in the small things, right? So I could see like, oh, we should make a schedule because I have a bunch of brothers and sisters. So, I didn't want to overwhelm my dad with 10 visitors at a time, right? So I was like, oh, we should make a schedule of when people are going to come and when people are going to help, right? Oh, we should put something on the fridge that, we should put a list of what we need on the fridge. And then if someone can go shopping, at a certain point and get those things, right? Just so everybody wasn't running around like chickens with their heads cut off, right? So I could organize that and I could, take care of my dad with patience and openness rather than crying and freaking out in front of him, which would not have helped him at all, which would have made him feel, you know, which would have made him suffer more than he was already suffering, right? So I can't even tell you like how much he and my mother appreciated that. And I was so happy to be able to help in this way. So I don't tell you that so that you think I'm a great person. I don't think I'm a great person. I was really surprised by that actually, you know. And I think it must have been some kind of osmosis, through all those years that gave me a little bit of the ability to help in this way. So you can see that not only can we help ourselves like this, but we can help others better if our mind is stable. All right. So uh, the storms are part of the weather too, right? And the more we practice, the better we will be at maintaining stability in all situations. And this reduces suffering for ourselves and for all those around us. The larger reason, or larger is maybe a weird word, that like the deeper reason, let's say, that we need to practice this has to do with attaining enlightenment. We need a steady, clear mind to access the wisdom and compassion that is so vital to this path, that is so helpful in our progress along this path. Okay? So let's do it. Let's do some meditation. All right, hang on. So I don't, as always, I don't know here. So I'm going to give you a little bit of instruction. And if that's boring for you, that's fine. We can just start. You can just not listen to me and just start with your meditation. All right. But for those of you who may be new, I'm going to give you a little bit of instructions. Hold on one second. Love. All right. So what we want to do is I'm going to keep a certain posture, which I will explain in a minute. And then we want to, for this meditation, just focus on the breath. All right. So we're not trying to manipulate the breath in any way. It's not like yoga. All we're doing is keeping our awareness on the sensation of the breath as it comes in and out of the nose. All right. And meanwhile, while we are trying to keep our focus there, uh, we let all the thoughts and emotions just pass by, like I said earlier, like clouds in the sky, right? At some point, because we are all beginners, we are going to get distracted, no question, right? Uh, but when we get distracted, just bring the mind back to the breath. So that awareness, it sounds a little bit paradoxical, but that awareness of our distraction is exactly what we're trying to develop. So when we have that sort of little mini like realization, like, oh, I got totally distracted, I got involved in some big storyline, just that's great. That's good. That's what we're trying to develop. So as soon as you realize that, just bring the mind back to the breath. Okay. And then you get distracted again and you bring it back again. That's why this is called practice, right? Otherwise, it would be called realization. And we wouldn't have to do any practice. Okay. All right. So now the posture. So if you're sitting in a chair, just keep your feet flat on the floor in front of you. If you are sitting on the floor, just cross your legs in whatever way is comfortable for you. All right. And then everything else is the same as far as the instructions go. So your hand should be either palms down on your knees or palms up like this in your lap, or with your fingers on top of each other and your thumbs touching like this, like you're holding a goose egg in your lap. All right. Then your back should be straight. That's actually the most important thing. It's the most important instruction is that your back should be straight. All right. Spine should be straight. So not tense like that, like you're in the army or something, but just straight. And that means the back of your neck is also going to be straight. So you want to tuck your chin in just a little bit. All right. Your arms are relaxed. So you're not holding them in, you're not holding them out. Just relax them at your side. All right. This is not really part of the formal instructions, but I find this really helpful. Just kind of roll your shoulders back, and that's going to help a little bit with like opening up your chest, freeing your breath, and also straightening your spine. All right. Your mouth is closed but relaxed, tongue resting on the roof of the mouth, and the eyes ideally should be like half closed. So not all the way closed because easier to fall asleep and so forth. But so if you just look like straight ahead and you drop your eyes about halfway down, that's a good relaxed, lowered, unfocused gaze. So this posture is important because it really aids the mind in meditation. All right. So we're holding this posture. We're trying to keep our awareness on the breath. As long as we're aware of the breath, we're in the present moment. All right. We are aware. As long as soon as our mind starts to wander into some big storyline, we lose awareness and we lose, like we're totally distracted and we lose awareness of the breath. Right. So that's how the breath is just a tool. It could be anything, right? A candle, a picture, a flower, whatever. But in this case, Buddha taught, use the breath because it's with us all the time. We don't have to go running around trying to find a candle or something. Okay, as long as we're alive anyway, the breath is with us. Okay, so that's really it. Maintain the posture, have relaxed awareness of the breath. You're also aware of everything else. Your dog on the floor, the weather, the light, how your body feels, whatever. But you're focusing on the breath more. Okay? So I'll ring the gong to start and also to finish. We'll do that for a few minutes and then we'll do another kind of meditation for a few minutes. Okay? All right, here we go. Okay. Now, please begin to count the breaths, counting either every in breath or every out breath to a total of 10 breaths. The counting helps us to realize more quickly when we've gotten distracted because we lose count. Okay. So let's say you get to four and you jump into some kind of big storyline because the thought arose, oh, it's weather today. Let's say that thought arises. And then you start running after it, oh, it's nice. I have to weed the garden and tomorrow I got to do work. And then. Right? As soon as you realize that, you got distracted. Just bring the mind back. It's great that you realized you got distracted. Okay, start again at one. If you get to 10, come back, start again at one. If you go beyond 10, it's another form of distraction. So as soon as you realize you're at 15 or whatever, oh yeah, I'm supposed to just go to 10, come back and start again at one. Okay? So let's begin that now. Bring your mind back to the breath. Your body should be as relaxed as possible while maintaining the posture. So check if you have tension in your shoulders or your neck or your face. Just relax, maintain the posture, but as relaxed as possible. Your mind should also be relaxed as possible while maintaining awareness of the breath. Okay? So please continue. Okay. So now we're going to do another kind of meditation, okay, called, well, I don't know if it has a name, but anyway, I call it, excuse me, uh, alternating meditation. Okay, so that is meditation that where we switch between mindfulness of breathing and just resting in the nature of mind. All right, so resting in the nature of mind means that um, we're not distracted, but we're not focused on anything. All right. Like when we are focusing on the breath or in mindfulness of breathing meditation, the mind is like working in a sense, right? Because we're trying to maintain awareness of that sensation. We're being aware of the thoughts are coming and going, and so forth. When we are doing a meditation of like just resting the mind, we're not trying to focus on anything. At the same time, we're not just letting the mind wander wherever it wants to wander. We're just trying to rest in the nature of mind, like that clear blue sky I was talking about at the beginning. All right. So the way that we're going to do this alternating meditation is we're going to spend, a little bit of time on mindfulness of breathing, and then we're going to spend a little bit of time on resting in the nature, and then back and forth like that. Okay, so there are two different types of postures that we're going to keep for these meditations also. All right. In this case, like before, I was saying that three different choices for how you put your hands. In this case, when you're focusing on the breath, all right, you just keep your hands like in this posture, uh, in this called meditation mudra, in your lap, all right. Your mouth is closed. You're breathing through the nose, and your eyes are again slightly downward. All right. When you are uh, resting the mind, then your hands are palms down on your knees. Your mouth is open. You're breathing through your mouth in this case, and your eyes are slightly upward. So if you look straight ahead and you just raise your eyes about halfway, a lot of people make the mistake of doing this, right? Make sure you're not putting your head up. Your head, your chin remains stable, back of your neck remains straight. All right. It's just your eyes. You're not looking at the ceiling. Okay. You look straight ahead, raise your eyes a little bit, breathe through the mouth, palms down on the knees, rest the mind. Okay. So we're going to alternate between those for the next few minutes. And when we're supposed to alternate, I will make a little sound like that. Hopefully you can hear that. Okay. So I'll just go, and then we'll switch. Right? Then and we'll switch. And when we're done with meditation, I'll ring it in strongly, right? Like I just did earlier. Okay. So first couple times I'll guide you through it, then I'll shut up and we'll just do it like that. All right. So we'll begin with uh, mindfulness of breathing practice. I'll ring the gong in a big way, and then we'll switch, and then I'll ring the gong in a big way to end. Okay. So, hands in the meditation mudra in your lap, mouth closed, breathing through the nose, eyes slightly lowered, focusing on the breath. Hands palms down on the knees, breathe through the mouth, eyes slightly upward, just rest the mind. Nothing to concentrate on, nothing to stir up. Just let the mind be. Concentrating on the breath, meditation mudra, mouth closed, breathing through the nose, eyes slightly down, focus on the breath. Resting the mind, palms down on the knees, breathing through the mouth, eyes slightly upward, and just let the mind be. I hope you couldn't hear Omani snoring, my dog. You were snoring, Omani. Anyway, if you heard it, I hope it wasn't too distracting. Okay, so now we're done with our time. So we're going to do the dedication prayers. You can join us for this. You cannot join us for this, whatever you like. But that's what we normally do at the end of any session, meditation or teaching or what have you. Okay, so begin with the long life prayers on the first page. Prayer for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Kangri wawe kowe shinkan su pandan de wa malu juene chenre si won tenzing yam so yi shape ke kya ba tu tengu shik. Long life of Jigme Khensen Rinpoche. Swasti Jigme Rabjam Se Chinaki Kensei Duka Lunzen Nuden Chok Sabsu Mishi Doje Taten Chin Tendra Mempe Trine Tashi Sho. Long life Pema Wangya Rinpoche. Swasti Tsela Gyamsa Chinlak Tenju Lei Lunzin Dakse Gyuju Pema Wang Samsun Nadre Gyalpo Tatene Labshan Tender Shetun Tage Sho. Long life of the teachers. Lama Kunkam Sampo Soa Deb Shotu Kutse Ringwa Soa Deb Trine Tashin Kepa Soa Deb Lama Dandre Wa Meka Chingi Do. Page 2. This first one will say once in English, once in Tibetan. The next two will say just in English, and the last one will say just in Tibetan, and then we'll do the 100-syllable mantra to purify any mistakes that we make. By this merit, may all attain omniscience, may defeat the enemy, wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of cyclic existence, may I free all beings. Sonandi tamche zikbani, chobne nyepe dranam pamche shin, egana chi balon trupayi, sipe sole droa droa shu. May bodhicitta, precious and sublime, arise where it has not yet come to be, and where it has arisen, may it never fail, but grow and flourish ever more and more. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. Nandra risum nana chokunga, kudaya sheropa jamlepe, sapsan neldra chimper nyamlela, Yame tuki tigle roshi sho. Now the mantra. Om Vajra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajra Sattva Ternopa Tishta Drito Me Bhava Sutokayo Me Bhava Subokayo Me Bhava Anurakto Me Bhava Sawasiddhi Me Prayatsa Sawakama Sutsa Me Chitam Shriyam Kuruham Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarvatata Gata Vajramame Mansa Vajrivama Samaya Sattva. You're welcome, Angelina. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? Just know that if you do have a question, you need to type it into the chat rather quickly because I don't wait very long. Okay, so let's see who and who does not have a question. You're welcome, Laura. Anybody have any questions? No? Whoops. You're welcome, Douglas. Hi, Shannon. You're welcome. I'm really glad all you guys could come this morning. It's nice to know there's other people here and I'm not just talking into the void. Hi, Anne Marie. All right. Okay, you guys, I will see you at some point. Remember, there's a retreat on Saturday, so link in the description. So if you want to come to that, please register for it. There is a fee, but if you are in financial straits, please don't worry about it. Okay. We just ask you to fill out a form so we know sort of who's paying and who's not. Okay. Or, you can get a reduced price if you prefer that. But anyway, everything's in the link. It's all on the site. So I hope to see you at that retreat. If I don't see you then, I will see you next Sunday. All right, you guys. Bye. Have a great week. Be safe, okay?